All right, peace, greetings, everyone. Hope everyone is well and fine. All right, Professor Griff, and of course, I'm the master, my brother, Professor Griff. I hope everyone can hear me. I'm gonna go to the comments, chat, and that kind of thing. If anyone is in the building, if not, we're gonna see in. I got a special guest coming along today to discuss. Puff Daddy and I don't know, Lucky Daddy and the rest of this stuff. I don't know, I guess the music industry, what's going on, what's happening, probably an old conversation with some of us, or a brand new conversation. Some of us, but in the meantime, between time, we're gonna make it happen. All right. Shout out to Sean Carter. Peace. What's good, man? Let me read you a couple of things, and as a matter of fact, some information I'm going to read. I'm going to proceed with caution. This information is Sean Carter sent me because the last time he sent some information, put my ass in the doghouse. All right. I need to have everyone kind of get I don't know, with a certain mindset, all right, to have this conversation, because I know people want to accuse, blame, two sides and this kind of thing. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'll have to kind of discuss that. All right, in the meantime, between the time, this is On the Masses. All right, with your brother, Professor Griff. All right. I sent Mr. Server that link, so hopefully he can kind of tune in. I don't see him in the backstage, and wait on him real quick. All right. So what I wanted to do, I wanted to pull from aspects of what I put in my book, Psychological Covert War on Hip Hop. In the 7th degree of the book, I talk about money, madness, music, and mayhem, and the media. To turn down my music. So my music is kind of fly. This shit is like, how about that? You know what was happening? I was listening to my music on my television. That's what was happening. Thank you. Just turn down your music, man. What you DJing over there? All right. Pop, what's good with you, man? Salam, good bro. All right. Anyway, from the 7th degree of my book, The Psychological Covert War on Hip Hop, money, madness, music, mayhem, and the media. And the media is multi-ethnic destruction in America. All right. So we talk about power, in which a lot of us, the few discussions I did have with people, it was in a position of power. And as we all know, and y'all can let me know who I'm quoting, power corrupts, absolutely, because absolute power corrupts, absolutely. All right. Absolute power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts. Absolutely. I didn't want to waste any more time. 3 minutes in, I wanted to be in this conversation, so I'm going to bring on my guest here, and I'm going to do it like that because there's some information I do want to pull up. Peace, good bro. How you feel, man?
Peace and power. How you good, brother? All is well.
I'm trying to be like you. Shoot, you minister servant, not me.
Man, please. We all know the minister of information been for decades, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, hold on. I'm going to stop my music, Tony, because you seem like your microphone is way in the back.
Hold on. Let me make sure.
All right.
Can you hear me better now?
Yes, a lot better.
Okay, cool.
All right, cool. So just for the people, for the audience, people that don't know who you are, tell the people who you are And the main reason why you and I got together on this subject today. Talk to me.
Peace and love, good people out there. I am Minister Server, the founder and creator of Higher Infinite Power, Healing Our People, Hip Hop Ministries. Also the former international organizer with the Temple of Hip Hop, spiritual advisor to KRS-One, the Zulu Nation, Temple of Hip Hop, advisory board for the Hip Hop Museum, Inspired Truth Center, Hillside International Truth Center, a few different things, but I'm mainly the dopest hip hop grandpa. That's the main thing I am. Word up.
That's a beautiful thing. All right, so where do you think we should begin, man? Everyone, if you've been tuning in over the last 24 hours, maybe 48 hours, you would have gotten inundated with information about Sean, Puffy, P. Diddy, Brother Love, whatever you want to call him. You've gotten inundated with news.
Right.
All right. You got inundated with multi-ethnic destruction in America, media. You got inundated with one lopsided story on what and shaping and molding the narrative. All right. So without anyone thinking we're choosing sides or we're standing up for anyone or we're doing X, Y, Z. This is a conversation that two black men are having, not necessarily about a black man, but the overall view of things through the lens that we're looking at this thing through. Right. Which what we're bringing to the table is a certain degree of shared experience, a know-how on how to kind of have a conversation about our maturity, and then what we're bringing to the table is the fact that we have a history in hip hop, knowing and watching Puffy over the last 30 years, and just clear thinking and clear thought. We're not some young 20-something-year-olds trying to have a conversation on YouTube. We're in our 50s and 60s. All right. I would like to say from the outstart, the information that will quantify and qualify Professor Griff to have this conversation is already on YouTube for the last 20 years. I've laid out my position. I put it in my books. I told you who this individual was in the industry that he's kind of operating in. I've been talking about this for years. All right. Years. So I think that we're qualified to have this conversation, and I can speak for you with that shared experience.
Most certainly.
Okay. So I think the perspective that we're going to come from, we're not beating anyone up. No. I want to say I'm coming from the perspective, I'm not going to allow P. Diddy or anybody to handle women that way on my watch if I have knowledge of it. I had aspects of knowledge of it back then and I spoke on it. But I was trying to shape a narrative to get people to understand who this individual was back then. And then here we are now, years later, and I'm getting text messages like, yo, Griff, you were right. Now, this is about the 5th time over the last few years, y'all done hit me up and told me that I was right. I told you I was right then. But I had to pull back and let y'all see it for yourselves, and now y'all see it. I'm not tooting my own horn or stepping on no pedestal. I told you I was right then. So what we're going to do is have a discussion today and get people to understand where we are now. Now, share aspects of the text message you sent me because I was on the same page.
Yeah.
What did you say we needed to how we needed to frame this today?
Well, I think, because you and I always approach hip hop beyond entertainment. You see what I'm saying? So, right. I as soon as this happened, I was like, yo, this is we go for us to chop up on the spiritual, the cultural, and the political aspect. And we can add the economic aspects as well, because all those things are tied together. So when we look at, as you said, for those of us that have been around for a minute, we understand the things that have been going on behind the curtain for a long time and have been speaking on them. Now, again, for those that have been speaking on it, that's not on the popular corporation side because it goes against the grain of what the corporation is trying to push. But those of us that love the culture, those of us that understand the culture, those of us that know the value of the culture, understand higher infinite power, healing our people. You know what I'm saying? Right. So those of us that were around before we even started calling it hip hop understood that this was something that was given to us as a way to fortify ourselves, as a way to move ourselves forward. So, from the mid-90s, when the corporations shifted, what they were going to put their emphasis in, we've been saying the same thing. Like literally, I tell people, if you know me, you know I've been saying the same shit for 30 years easily, because it's the same thing. And I tell people, this is not a play thing for me. I'm not running around playing hip hop. You know what I'm saying? I was doing the work well before KRS. In fact, even me and KRS getting together, according to KRS, God told him specifically to come hire me. He didn't know me at all. He knew of my work in Atlanta. But at the end of the day, I say that because when we look at the things that are happening spiritually in hip hop right now, from the music to the academic world, to the political world, to the cultural world, we have to take stock of what's going on. And, you know, one of the challenges that when you're ahead of the curve, you know, sometimes you get ridiculed, you get, you know, pushed to the side, you get all that, as you said. You know, you've been the minister of information for us since the 80s. And whether whether the person agrees or disagrees with the information, you always leave where people can do their own due diligence. You see what I'm saying? So on that same end, we have to look at things spiritually. Whatever your spiritual path is, you know, you have to understand that, you know, we are spirit, mind, and body. So when we operate from that, I definitely see all of the implications. And you know, to add on to that, even the things that's going on with Kendrick and Drake, you see the spiritual, cultural, corporate implications of those things that are happening. So none of us are surprised that this is happening with Sean, Diddy. And, you know, at the end of the day, you will reap what you have sown.
Right. So Black Dot have said they take the lowest essence of our culture and give it maximum exposure.
Exactly.
My book,
Black Dot.
And you can see it right here. I said, the devil will make evil fair seeming. They have changed our music to vibrate at a sexual frequency, a frequency and beat that creates mental sexual frenzy. It's on page 196 of my book, The Psychological Covert War on Hip Hop. So like Minister Service said, and I can veg you back off of that, he's been saying this. I've been saying this. Other people like Black Dot and other people have been saying these things, trying to warn our people. So let's get right to the point. So for what I'm hearing, and you can help me out, let's bring people up to date. So I've seen them raid his house. I've seen Cassie issued the lawsuit. He settled it in a day and a half. I've seen other people accuse him. I've heard bubblings in the music industry about Puffy. I've seen him respond by giving back publishing rights and masters and all that kind of stuff in good faith. And no one like him with that mindset does anything in good faith.
Not at all.
You need to keep that in mind.
Everything is transactional. Everything is transactional. Everything is transactional.
Exactly. Everything's political. So I've seen him get rid of artists, dismiss people. I've seen him dispose of people. I've seen business transactions. I've seen him take the front stage. I've seen him make deals behind people's back. I've seen him lose Biggie. I've seen him lose Faith. I've seen him lose, Locks to a degree.
Mace.
Craig Mack,
Mace, yeah.
Mace. Peace, shout out to my man Mace.
Loon, G Dep. You can go down the whole lineup, bro.
Yeah, exactly. So my thing is, if you have a label, the average stint of an artist staying on a label is at least the duration of their contract. They're not even staying that long. Everyone is in dispute with dude about monies, contract, and that. I'm almost thinking maybe that's the norm. Do you understand what I'm saying? So if that is the case, now he's in court. And I'm hearing early this morning, his attorney saying they have to be able to prove those things, because he said he's interviewed people, that the male sex workers and these kind of things, and no one was coerced, no one was forced, no one was threatened, and this kind of thing. He said it's going to be hard for the prosecution to present a case against Diddy because none of these people were forced or drugs. In my mind, I'm like, bro, they got shit on video.
Exactly.
You got people that's walking around right now can attest to this. When the feds come and pick you up like they picked him up, then they've already built a case against you.
Exactly.
They already know. They already got witnesses lined up and that kind of thing. Although the trial may not happen until 2026, let's be real. because it's going to take them that long to build their case, so to speak.
Which is why him not being able to get bail is a big thing. You know what I'm saying? It's like, he was denied bond. So until the trial comes up, he's going to be in jail until that happens. So, again, I posted something yesterday on social media about when you look at Suge Knight and Puffy 30 years ago, and you look at where they are now, I hope young people are really looking and paying attention and seeing this as a cautionary tale. Because at the end of the day, there's going to be mad temptations. And, those of us that have been around the music industry or entertainment industry in general understand that they are predators. They are sharks. They are people that have bad intentions. You know what I'm saying? Which is why, it's always a blessing to have people around that care about you as a person. For all you artists out there, sure, you have your people that take care of the business, but make sure you always have people around that care about you as a person. Because any of us can slip and fall and, run down the wrong lane. But when you have people that genuinely love and care about you, they'll at least help to get you back in alignment. Now, when you become rich and famous, that's a bit harder to do because then you have people around you that they're going to be yes men and women no matter what. And I think, in fact, it's really interesting. When I was listening to the Attorney General yesterday, they talked about they were really focusing on from 2008 to now. Right. So when you look at all those early years in the 90s and 2000 and whatnot, in 2008 to now is when the investigation is supposed to be from. So all those things that have been happening, for what, 16 years, something like that. All these things that are coming, as you said, they're mad people, they're mad enablers as well. See, that's another thing that the case talks about. While the focus is on Diddy right now, it's an ongoing investigation. Because for you to have, a criminal enterprise, other people have to be involved.
Wait. So hold on. So real quick, I mean to interrupt you. Let's talk about some of them other individuals. Mm-hmm. This information was sent to me this morning. Hold on for a second. Mm-hmm. These are a list of the people who have ties to Diddy that have resigned their position within the last 24 hours of him being indicted. All of these people stepped down within 24 hours of P. Diddy being arrested. Kevin Lyles.
Wow.
I'm going to say this, and I don't want nobody to take nothing personal. Fuck you, motherfuckers. And half the people I'm going to read off on this list, you owe me a goddamn apology. And I'm not going to mention no names because some of y'all might think I'm being this rowdy, radical militant dude. No, I'm dead ass. For real, you owe me an apology. Because I told y'all, and I told you back then. Anyway, Kevin Lyles, Eric Pryor, president of Fine Arts, Kevin Lyles, music exec, Jonathan Holloway, he's the president of Rutgers or whoever the hell. Mm-hmm. Robert B. Davis, general manager of Martha's Vineyard. And your man was there recently at Martha's Vineyard. I'm not gonna name him. Y'all know who I'm talking about. But some of y'all, every time I mention his name, y'all get tight in the fucking butt cheeks, like you're doing something on the side. But your man was there recently. What happens when you go through that portal at Martha Vineyard? We'll talk about that, some ritual shit. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, for sure.
Kathy Newsham, Bay City Mayor, LaMonica McCleaver or something, New York City Councilman, Allison Green, Tish Dean, Craig Malaudra, Fifth Ward, Geneva, Joseph Kirshner, Mark Foster, Susan Williams, Romaine, whoever the hell his name is, Henry Leventis, Matthews, whatever his name is, Darren Lehman. And this is allegedly, hypothetically, fictitious list, however you want to view it. But go look up some of these names.
Yeah.
Now go back now and look up some of these people that was whispering in your man's ear that end up at Martha's Vineyard, who was responsible for getting rid of me. And you see these same individuals. So to prove your point and to quantify and qualify your point, when you talk about enterprise and some of these individuals are involved, we're not talking about low level. We're not talking about the goddamn maid that come once a week to clean up your house.
Right.
So they try to cover it up, but we're not talking about her. We're not talking about Consuela and her sister and her auntie and her old ass grandmother that come do the gardening at your house. We're not talking about them. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
We're not talking about Jesus who trims the fucking flowers. We're talking about the people that already got arrested for supplying you drugs. What was his name? Brandon, somebody?
Mm-hmm.
They already arrested him, last year?
Right.
We're talking about main movers and shakers.
Exactly.
And we can name some of the people who we already know who's on the list that they're going after next because they're building a case on them. When you, on the cover of darkness, are flying 14 and 15-year-olds on your private plane from other countries and other cities into your city to come meet with you to have sex, that is sex trafficking, bruh.
Yeah.
How else we gotta say that?
Exactly.
Let me bring the energy back down. Because some of y'all are like, damn, Griff, you kind of riled up about it. That is sex trafficking. These are some of the things I think the prosecution is going to prove that he did. There's flight law like there was with Jeffrey Epstein.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say, and it's the same court that the prosecuted Epstein as well. Yeah, the same.
Exactly.
Which is why, if you notice, his house got raided in L.A. and in Florida, but he was arrested in New York. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So the New York Attorney General was saying that they take pride in being the ones that stepped up first. You see what I'm saying? Because in LA and in Miami, they could have done whatever they wanted to do in Florida and California, rather. They could have done whatever they wanted to do. But for New York, for him being from there and see all those different ties. So what we're watching, in my opinion, what we're seeing is a purging of the hip hop corporations. We're seeing a purging of the corporations. So those of us that are on the cultural side, this is why it's so important for us to be in alignment with each other, with the artists, because there's a shift. You know, I talked about the pendulum is moving. You know, there's a shift that's happening right now. We know that the corporations have had way too much power over the people, too much negative power over the people. And now that's shifting. So now we as the culture have to get ready for the shift to make sure that we don't repeat some of the same fuckery that was done on that side.
Right. So my thing is, we're naming some of the people that's on that particular list that I've read. But there's other people that we know personally.
Sure.
That was in cahoots with Puffy. Now, whether or not they was doing some dirt, they may have looked at it as just hanging out, going to parties. You know, we got weed, some drink, and some chicks that we bagged. And, you know, that's it. But no, it goes a lot deeper than that. Ain't nobody coming to raid your house for that.
No.
Because that go on all the time in the music industry.
And you know what's really crazy about it is you got people that are coming out saying different things now, like the girl Dawn from Dirty Money or whatever Diddy had with him was talking about how other artists were there, Neo and Usher. They mentioned being there when the casting situation was going on. Mind you, this casting situation was 2009, so people knew for a long time. That's what I'm saying about the enablers. For a long time, but a number of times when people get caught up in the world and the fame and the money and things of that nature, then people kind of turn a blind eye to that, And my thing is, they should be held accountable to a certain level as well.
So you mean so let's say it like this. So then, if these people knew for a long time, why do you think people didn't speak up? Now, social media has been around for a minute.
Yeah.
So much so that they could have said something. And let me be honest with you. I'm not going to say the names. When I put the information out, some people did contact me and they did want to speak up, but they didn't want to risk the retaliation. On the business tip, because they didn't want to mess up their business. Then on a personal tip, because they look at these people with a certain degree of power.
Mm-hmm.
And I had that conversation in my kitchen with Soleil, and she said, yeah, Puffy has power. Not the power that the average person is thinking of, but he has a degree of power above the average person trying to get a deal. Yeah.
Sure.
Above the average person that's trying to get out of the hood. Yeah. And they see they got talent. He's in a position that could possibly sign him and yada, yada, yada. And to a degree, Soleil is right. Okay, cool. I got you. But like I said earlier, When you have absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Absolutely.
You will absolutely get corrupted by not only the trappings in the industry that he trapped the artists with, he's going to get trapped up also because he ain't the ones writing the check. Puffy didn't own the name Bad Boy.
Exactly.
Wait, let's press the pause button. Puffy didn't own the name Bad Boy. I talked about it. Go over my interviews. Yeah. So someone else is signing them checks.
Well, see,
follow what I'm saying.
Well, what we all know is that everybody that's a millionaire or a billionaire or on the entertainment side, there's somebody behind them. And somebody in the chat was asking, was I talking about the whites taking out the middleman? It's not even a black-white issue. It's for me, it's more of a right-wrong issue. It's more of a cultural corporation issue. You know what I'm saying? More than anything else. Because again, at the door, we have to understand hip-hop was not created for the corporation. You know, we don't talk about that enough. I mean, because we get caught up in rap music so much that we forget the essence of why hip hop was given to us. And, we talk about nothing new, but it came through us because of the harsh conditions of the black and brown people dealing with white supremacy and racism. You know what I'm saying? Ways to, strategies, life strategies, you know what I'm saying, to really get up out of that. So when we talk about the hip hop bridge builders, what we do is connect the culture to the corporate from away from the corporation. So our young people in general, but young people particularly, can understand that this culture can help you become who you are beyond entertainment. This culture was created for you to express your best self as a culture of self-identification, self-improvement, self-empowerment, which leads to positive social change. That's what hip-hop was about before we even started calling it hip-hop. But by the time we got to the mid-90s and began to, the corporations saw what was happening, the government saw what was happening. Well, we all know what happened then. There was a change in the FCC and change in corporations, and we're still dealing with that now. But those of us that are old enough to know we're not talking about it enough, and we're not coming up with solutions. We are solution oriented. Some of us know the issues, but if we're not talking about solutions, as I tell people, I have 6 children, 7 grandchildren. When I'm planning, I'm doing work, I'm not even thinking about my children. I'm thinking about my grandchildren. And how is hip hop going to look?
I'm thinking about your children, but yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the blessing of my children, all of my children are adults now. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So they've made it to adulthood. But what about, there's a scripture that says a wise man plans for his children's children. You see what I'm saying? That's ancient wisdom. So, for those of us that have been blessed to make it to the 40s and older, it's not about us no more. It's not about whether we like this rapper or that rapper. It's about how we can see how the entertainment is using what we created, what we brought to the world against us now. Most of us know people that can say hip hop has affected who they are in their lives. All of us know, people that are famous and people that are not famous, doctors, lawyers, mayors, that will tell you they are who they are because of this culture, not just rap music. But again, if we don't tell that story, if we don't reconnect it, if we don't consciously separate ourselves and say, listen, that's the corporation. We can do business with the corporation, but the corporation will never be bigger or stronger than the culture, because the culture is the people. And the people represent God and the ancestors, which is a whole nother sermon. You know what I mean?
Right. So listen, some time ago, I'm not sure how long ago, probably a few years, Speech from Arrested Development.
Yes. Big up to my
brother. Out an article. Salute to Speech. Put out an article, and he started naming the names. Mm-hmm. He started showing the pictures. He started issuing a dialogue and kicking off and setting off a dialogue that we should have kept having.
Yeah.
So by the time we got to this point, go look at the picture, and it'll almost tell you who they're gonna go after.
Oh yeah. And
so Speech turned around and did the Nigger Factory.
The Nigger Factory. I was gonna talk about that, right?
Shout out to Jason Orr. Shout out to Speech. All right. So when he did the Nigger Factory,
he did the artwork in that too.
Oh, okay.
Fabian, yeah.
So you can look at the individuals that was the big wigs, the moguls, and all these other rich people in the 90s that made all the music that took hip hop to the left.
Right.
They became millionaires, while the culture took a deep dive. More women got raped, molested, sexually assaulted during that period. Am I wrong?
No, not at all.
So then we got to look at now who was controlling these sub-labels, and then what kind of music was out there. I mean, and having that conversation with Soleil in the kitchen, she said that's why my ass went left and got the hell out and left, because she saw what was coming. She was like,
because see, it's the music and the images. See what I'm saying? The music and the images that we see. So if you look at where we were 30 years ago and the images and the music that was coming out, and you look at where we are now, it's fucking embarrassing, bro. It's embarrassing that we've allowed this corporation to come in and hijack our culture and our children. So now, for us to even have a conversation with some young people is a struggle, because on our end, we didn't do a great job of connecting to that, because we started getting caught up in the hype of the 90s, because we were still young in our 20s and early 30s and what. So we didn't really understand all the implications of everything that we should be able to understand now. We should be able to see, and again, for those that have eyes, let them see. Those that have ears, let them hear. But this is not about, if you've been blessed to make it to the age of 40 or older, you know that that's a blessing, because they've been aiming at you from the womb. And yet, if we think that somehow the corporation is going to turn around and do the right thing by us or our people, then we are sorely misled. I mean, even when you look at, again, when you look at the larger picture of Kendrick and Drake, both of them are still with the corporation. Kendrick's busting shots from inside the house. So we have to make sure that we are sending our brother energy, and that we are having him protected, spiritually, mentally, physically as well, because he's making some bold moves. Now, again, it's beyond rap music, but rap music has always been a catalyst for us to get pumped up. When you look at your group, Public Enemy, when you look at those first 3 albums, at least, they inspired millions of people to become politically active, to begin to study, to begin to find out about the ancestors and the things that the ancestors. We have an election coming up now, and if you look at both major political parties, the Democrats and the Republicans, which one fits in the alignment with the works of our ancestors? Does either party fit in the works of the alignment with the ancestors said we should be doing? And yet both parties try to tell us that when you have to vote for only one, even though it's the third party candidates that can't win. We have to get more serious on the political side in hip hop. On that same end, let me just say this right quick. 20 years ago, 2004, we had our first National Hip Hop Political Convention in Newark, New Jersey. Raj Baraka was a council person at the time, and we were on the way to organize ourselves politically so we're not taken advantage of. Here we are again 20 years later, and we have an election coming up, but will hip hop have any impact in this election as far as the way that we feel? Who is hip hop rolling with in this election? I asked that question today online and got crickets. You know what I'm saying?
So do we have that infrastructure though in hip hop that we can organize hip hop to the degree where we can become a voter bloc or even lobbyists or a lobbying group? Do we have that kind of organization? And I think that's what we need to be working towards when it comes to educating the people about the vote. You remember, and I'm saying that, and I'm veggie backing off of that, because same corporation you just finished talking about was the same corporation that used Puffy, because Puffy had a campaign. It said vote or die.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Wait a minute. We need to press the pause button and think about that. You mean to tell me you either vote in this corrupt election that never educated the people about the electoral college? You either vote or you die. Who put the money behind that?
Exactly. And that was a bullshit campaign from the door. That was a straight bullshit campaign from the door. And what it did, in my opinion, was it scared the hell out of some conservatives, some white folks, and made them come out in mass numbers. That's why George Bush landslid in that election. You talking about vote or die? Please. The folks were like, nah. But even that, it wasn't serious. Again, all these things that are done sometimes from the entertainment side become too much corporation and not enough grassroots with the culture. So again, when you look at, by the time we had the second political convention in 2006 in Chicago, and then we had the third one in Vegas in 2008, and we imploded at the convention in 2008 because that was the same year, if you remember, it was the same year that then Senator, later on President Barack Obama,
right.
That's when Barack was running, but it was also the same year that Cynthia McKinney and Rosa Clemente were on the ticket for the Green Party. That was a time right there when if we were serious, we could have started building right then and start using those two people to bring in the hip hop coalition. So some things are being done locally, but nationally, no, we're not organized enough. We are still politically immature, which is why I applaud the work that's being done, by Hip Hop Congress, who has different chapters, around. Big up to my man Rockman from Hip Hop Congress. Big up to Reverend Yearwood and TC Muhammad from the Hip Hop Caucus. So there are organizations that are designed to do that. We're just young, and it's not the sexy, popular, glamorous side. The work, as you talk about, revolution is not an event. It's a process. The same with politics. It's a process. And, it wasn't always a Republican Party. It had to come into being to become that. So, whether we call it a hip-hop party or whatever, it has to be something that's a party that fits where we are and where we're going. Whether we link with another party, I don't think we'll be the Democrats or the Republicans, because both of them are controlled by the corporations.
Right.
We don't give a fuck about the people either side. As Brother Malcolm taught, two birds with the same wing, one bird with two different wings.
Right.
But so my thing is, I think 60 years ago, right?
Right. Cynthia McKinney and Rosa Clemente set something in motion, and you're absolutely correct. If we would have just kind of built on that particular energy, I think that energy gave birth to the idea of a Jill Stein, and I forgot who her running mate is, the VP for the Independent Party.
Dr. Bush Ware.
Huh?
Dr. Bush Ware.
Right. So my thing is, people act like these people don't exist. Right. See, we're not politically astute to even know who these individuals are. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. We should be. You understand? As people say I am anti this and I'm anti that. No, Jill Stein, I know her agenda. You understand what I'm saying? So why wouldn't I know if I'm politically astute? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? So let's get back to Diddy. On a lighter note, culturally speaking, I mean, I've had my share of girlfriends. I've been married 3 times. I ain't never in my goddamn life used that much goddamn baby oil, bro.
1,000 bottles.
I'm just saying, I don't even know where to get 1,000.
Man, listen, that's what I'm saying. Where do you even fucking store 1,000 bottles of lube? Like, what the hell is going on with that? I mean, those free cars, bro, I can't even imagine. I mean, can you imagine what they have on videotape, though? This shit could get ugly. I'm warning people, it's gonna get ugly.
I downloaded last night after listening to the entire indictment. I downloaded it. Mm-hmm. I read it this morning. I said to myself, what is freak off supplies? What the fuck is freak off supplies? I'm just on a lighter note. I'm just culturally speaking. I'm just trying to so can somebody name freak off supplies? I'm trying to figure out what that is. And then I've used baby oil in a couple of situations, but when I found that it was toxic, I stopped using it. But then when do you actually use the lube unless old girl is like 430 pounds? I'm like, where do you they're puffy. Just, bro, you know what you should have been doing, Puff? You just should have been making soft porn video as opposed to trying to be in the music industry. Because when I read that, I'm like, freak off supplies, 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricants, and then the next to that, they found AR-15 parts.
With the serial code, with the serial numbers off of them.
With the serial number scratched off, which is illegal. That's a federal offense.
That's a federal, right? Just that alone, he's doing mad time.
Right. So if I'm trying to process this, without laughing, because it's when I read it, I was like, no, they cannot be serious. So these people
that was crazy about it. They named so many different things. It's like they went through everything to make sure that they humiliated this dude. You know what I'm saying? That's another part of the psychological part to show folks out there. You know, people talk about, all this came to light when he tried to pull the race card with the liquor company. Started talking about the racial stuff with the Grammys and all that stuff. It was like, oh, you trying to be on that black shit? Let me show you what it is. That's what some folks are saying. Now, whether that's true or not, time will tell. But it really is interesting, the timing of all the stuff. If you go back in the years and you see where he was making a move to try to become Brother Love and, get political and all that kind of stuff, then,
Yeah. Do you think the Brother Love thing was a move to get political or to get people's sympathy and empathy as to what was going on Star Island?
That's what I think it was, more to try to get ahead of the curve, to say, just like when the tape came out about Cassie and he gave that half-ass apology, he was like, I was in a dark place, I was fucked up, blah, blah, blah. I think that's what all the Dr. Love shit was coming from, that, to try to get ahead of it. Because again, you know what you've done. You know the people that you've paid. And again, the crazy part about the indictment is that they said that he wasn't even in the entertainment business no more. He was in the freak-off business and was using the entertainment industry as like a cover for the freak-off shit. That's why he needed 1,000 bottles of lube, because that was his business. So he might have some pornos and shit out there. Who knows? But like you said, that would have been better off to do that. He was hiring sex workers and things of that nature. But on the whole nother side, to me, it's like, for you to do something like that, something in you has to be broken. You dig what I'm saying? That ain't nothing that's just regular, even if you're a freak. To have, they're talking about having people in bondage and cages and all this type of shit. Nah, bro. When you go to that other side, and we all know that there's dark and light. We know that. Don't act like it's not a dark side. And a side that can take you away from your normal self. And if you got people around that are co-signing, they said the people at the hotels was getting paid off crazy whenever some crazy shit jumped off. So, these are the times that we're in right now, people. And again, this is bigger than Sean Combs. It's really interesting when you go back to the beginning of the year, and Cat Williams was saying that this was the year shit was going to be coming out. It was going to be a year of truth. Blah, 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 blah. Man, that shit is coming out in so many different ways, so many different people. But, to me, I'm here for the purging of the corporations from hip-hop. I'm here for that. It's not going to be an overnight thing because we didn't get involved overnight. But if the first thing has to happen, we have to have the consciousness. We have to have the mindset. We have to know that, whatever spiritual path or non-spiritual path that you choose, that you are not just a person that's here in the physical. We are threefold beings. We're spiritual, mental, and physical beings. So if you don't take care of your spiritual side, the world will take care of that for you. And then you'll find yourself in a world of trouble not knowing what to do. But we can be preemptive in that. And, again, the concept of a higher infinite power healing our people. Anyone that's involved in hip-hop culture, whether you are a practitioner of the art or you're a person that's observing the culture, when we are in the midst of that, there's a real healing that's going on. It's not accidental that we've been able to affect the entire world in less than 50 years without a formal plan and absolutely no force. Hip-hop is a phenomenon like we've never seen. We're still working to get a handle on what it is and how to act in it. That's why this document behind me, the Hip-Hop Declaration of Peace, is so crucial. Because again, I preach the same thing. I tell people, anybody that knows me, I've been saying the same thing for the last, 25, 30 years. But particularly with the Hip-Hop Declaration of Peace, because I believe that document is what my children's children will be able to build from. It's not a law, it's not a mandate, it's there for advice, guidance, and protection. Protection. Because there are forces that understand our power and they use it against us. But if we don't understand our own power, then we can never even activate ourselves. So through hip-hop ministries and through hip-hop bridge builders and the work that you're doing and that Black Power Media is doing, all those type of things are important because we are at war, y'all. It's not a game. We got to arm the masses for real.
Right, exactly. So I want to give a shout out to the brother in the chat, Yu Akata. It says the freak off supplies is demented minds, corrupted spirits, and desperate souls. Capitalism, which I would wholeheartedly agree. And then Darren Pryor, he says, yo, you have been telling these people for over a decade about this, but they were not listening. They wanted to see for themselves, fucked around, and now they're going to find out.
Yep.
And you're absolutely correct, Mr. Pryor. They're going to mess around, and now they've actually found out. So let me ask just some basic questions. Let's get some short answers because we're running out of time.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, shout out to Black Power Media Reloaded. Shout out to Kalaji and his staff. That's providing the platform. Wait, I just got a message from Pam Africa. The Uhuru 3 verdict is in. We work for black people, not Russia. We'll probably have to take that up at another time. But shout out to Pam Africa.
Yeah, shout out to the Uhuru 3 as well.
Right, exactly. So the people that Puffy did put in place so they could make money and have careers, how come those people are not coming out now and speaking up in behalf of Puffy? Why do you think that?
I think, again, man, when you're talking about the charges, they don't know who are going to be charged next. They don't know what it really is. So again, and a number of times, as we were talking about earlier, a lot of them felt like they were playing anyway. Like for me, I don't know Sean personally, but I was just completely done with this dude when he had Biggie's mom going through the challenges. After his man gets killed, you make his mom, go through all that to get what's owed to him. I mean, for me, again, character, bro. The type of person you are, how you move means everything. You know what I'm saying? You can't cover that up with no, Maybach or shiny clothes. Nah, your character. Could you imagine, again, him becoming who he is and still living off the legacy of Biggie, and yet you're trying to fuck over his mom with the money and the publishing and, bro, that for me. So from back then, I've been like whatever with that dude, and he make whack music to me anyway. He wasn't never dope. It was the people around him that was dope. So, but it's really unfortunate, that, the victims of the people that are coming out now, the artists that had their careers thwarted and stunted because of this nonsense, prayerfully, they can recover and come forward and get justice as well. And the same thing, even with Diddy, man, he has to come to terms, whoever his spiritual crew is, he calls himself Brother Love, so I'm sure he's involved with somebody spiritually. I pray that he's listening to the advice, because I believe that, I hope anyway, that there's some people in his life that are giving him some sound advice right now. You know what I'm saying?
Minister Server, I got to cut you off. When you get to that point and you're moving that kind of money and you kind of got that many people and you're beckoning, call, opening doors for you, making your bed, massaging you while you're having comment, you ain't listening to nobody because you think you the one. And you're not really listening to anyone, bro.
TD Jakes, that's what one is advisor, TD Jakes.
Oh, he was hanging out with Jay-Z. So how come Jay-Z, he's supposed to be so wise? How come he didn't give him advice?
Man, listen, I think Jay-Z, all of them that are in that level, go back to the parties and all them type of things. Those that wanted to be in those circles, now you earned the right to be in those circles for whatever reason, and whatever comes with being in those circles, they're going to have to deal with that. And we, the people, hopefully can learn that again, all that glitters is not gold. Rap is just something you do. Hip hop is something you live. Okay,
so listen. So do you think that the 90s of enabling these people to do what they're giving them free reign, now they're millionaires, that is over. That project is done. The industry, the corporation is going to get rid of all of them. And you can start seeing them fall. All the ones that had the subsidiary labels. Sean Carter said Diddy is not going down, or not going to allow himself to go down alone. He's going to start naming the names and dropping the names. And let me tell y'all, man.
I mean, especially since he wasn't giving bond, man, give it about a week or two. He's going to be singing like, Dirty Money for real.
Exactly. So you know who's next. You can almost, in your mind, what the list consists of. And they're going to go after all of them. You understand what I'm saying? Let me tell you something. This is how these people work, man.
No doubt.
This is how these people work. And we got to understand the particular dynamic. They don't change the hip-hop game now. All right? They don't change the hip-hop game so much so that the culture don't turned on itself and it's eating itself alive from within.
Yep.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
And everybody's gonna look like they suspect now with these subsidiary labels, for real. And it's gonna get uglier. It's gonna get worse before it gets better. Put it that way.
Right, exactly.
Let me say this. Let me just say this. The same energy that they had to usher this stuff in, and the same energy that they're putting behind this, it's gonna take us. It's gonna take Three to God Way. It's gonna take keepers of the culture. It's gonna take Hip Hop Congress, the Rosa Clementes, everybody else involved, in order to put that same kind of energy forward to neutralize it.
Exactly.
We have to come together on every point, man. And it's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
I agree 100%, which is why, as I was talking with you in Paradise, it's just like, what we're talking about doing with the keepers of the culture, this is something that for those that understand the value of hip hop culture, and again, I'm talking to primarily people over the age of 40, because most of us can really say that who we became hip hop culture plays a huge part of who we are as adults. So my question is not only how do you give back from that, but how do we preserve that and let it go forward? And again, this is not about trying to make our young people listen to any particular type of artist and things of that nature. I tell people all the time, I have three daughters, 3 sons, 6 children. None of them are rappers. So it's not about trying to make your child a rapper, but it isn't about helping them to understand their culture. And if you understand hip hop culture, there's nothing new that we're doing in hip hop culture that we as Africans haven't been doing since we've been here. The ancient art forms of breaking MC and graffiti DJing, those are ancient art forms. So we have to, those of us, again, that what I like to call that first generation hip hop, generally speaking, people born between 1960 and 1980, generally speaking, that we experience hip hop in a way that no one will ever experience it again. So whatever happens in the future, we are directly and indirectly a part of that. And for those of us that have been doing this work, it's not about trying to convince, coerce, or convert anyone. It's about connecting with those of us that already understand, that already know that there's something beyond rap, that already know that we can use this in a way and connect with each other around the world so we can at least have these societies. Big up to KRS-One and the Temple of Hip Hop. That's what I love about the concept of the Temple of Hip Hop, a mass movement, ministry, archive, school, society. So all over the world, we have these mass movements. It's not about trying to get everybody to be down and be as popular as rap music. Big up to rap music being popular, but even that is fading as you see now. You know what I'm saying?
Right, exactly. Michael Reed said it. Shout out to Jaguar Wright, who's been trying to tell us for a long time. And people write her off like she crazy out there. I don't care what you think.
Yeah, man. Jaguar has been speaking about a lot of stuff. Clive Davis and all that. I'm wondering what Jaguar's going to be saying. I wonder how high up it's going to go. You know what I'm saying? As far as the people that are in that indictment. Because as you said, there's some major players that have been co-signers, enablers, if nothing else. And that's what the whole RICO thing is about, right? The other people that have benefited from your nefarious activities.
Right. If they're co-conspirators, then
right.
If you knew, they know who knows. Phone conversations. Because they've been tapping the man's phone. They know who know. Exactly. So are you going to bring those people into court, though?
That's going to be the interesting thing to see. But see, we also know this is another thing that says that we can't play their game. We should never win playing their game. Let me say that again. We can never win playing their game. When I say they, I mean those that act devilish. We can't play those devilish games and win. We are the people of the Most High God. You know what I'm saying? We are the people that our ancestors, literally, you ain't got to go back to ancient times. You can go 50, 60 years ago and see the actual work that our ancestors did dealing with these people that were acting devilish towards them. And they showed their God selves and achieved victory. Our biggest challenge, in my opinion, is that we don't study our ancestors enough. We don't know ourselves enough. We don't have knowledge of self. You know, back in our time, Griff, you didn't want to get caught unstudied. You wanted to have knowledge of self.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, because if you got a question about anything, bro, you was like, yo,
come on, man.
That's a potential beatdown. It's like, y'all can't even come out the house unless I know my stuff.
And you know what? If it wasn't a physical beatdown, it was a really uncomfortable ass feeling. You feel like, damn, I got to get on my shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Word, so
517_313 said, the indictment will stop at the Caucasian.
always,
So the Jimmy
always,
and the
always. Just like when the thing happened to me, you know, just on another end with the YSL with Thug and them. Okay, how come they didn't have Leo Cohen in that? You see what I'm saying? Because you know,
Right.
Leo was a huge part of that. Kevin Lyles could have been a part of it. You're talking about Rico, it wasn't just the so-called gang members. Nah, that's
Right.
some bullshit. But they're going to protect those that need to be protected. That's their game. And for a long time, Sean was under that protection. That veil has been lifted now.
Right. So we're truly going to start seeing when the cover's pulled off, we're going to see, man, you know how back in the day when you turn on the light, all the roaches scatter?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to see. But anyway, running out of time. We got to do this again, good bro.
Yes, sir. Man, appreciate you having me on, King.
Give thanks, man. We need to stay on this hip-hop thing, and we are anticipating your show. I don't know when it's going to happen, what it's called. You know, I'm supposed to be in the inner circle. I'm just trying to figure that out.
And man, it's called Hip Hop Bridge Builders. And you know, what we're going to do with Hip Hop Bridge Builders is have some conversations that, again, beyond just rap music. Like, you know, like when I have Griff as a guest on there, you know, we know about some things about Griff, but we don't really know how Griff was growing up. We don't really know what influenced him to even become a part of Public Enemy. You know, those are the type of things we have to begin to bridge these kind of gaps that we have. As well as have young people on there as well. So there's a lot of young people, when I say young people, understand that we have the culture. There are good things that are amazing in the culture, and it's beyond rap music. So through Hip Hop Bridge Builders, my goal is to connect the culture, again, for those that want to be connected. Again, it's not for everyone. If you don't care about hip-hop culture, you're probably not going to dig Hip Hop Bridge Builders. But if you care about the culture, past, present, and future, definitely look forward to Hip Hop Bridge Builders coming soon on Black Power Media. Word.
All right, that's Black Power Media Reloaded. All right, right here, Minister Server, Hip Hop Bridge Builders. This is Professor Griff. My special guest today was Minister Server. And there's a lot more to talk about as this thing progresses, this thing about No Diddy. It's critical, man. But anyway, it's Professor Griff for Arm the Masses right here on Black Power Media Reloaded. All right, Server, we'll talk, good bro.
Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all. Peace and love. And yo, also for the people out there, hit me up on Instagram at Minister Server, on Facebook at David Tavares, Minister Server. Let's stay connected, man. If you over the age of 40, particularly, you need to have this document. As I tell people, this document. That's the poster to look at, but we have the PDF in about 7 different languages to study. You know what I'm saying? It's there for advice and guidance. At the end of the day, it's about health, love, awareness, wealth, peace, and prosperity for ourselves, our children, and our children's children forever. That's what.
All right, peace. Peace, good bro. Salute. All right, that was my guest, Minister Server. Of course, this No Diddy thing is gonna. I guess we're gonna continue to talk about it. Simply because when the names are names and they start connecting the dots, we're gonna see who's who. All right, we're gonna see how this culture's been shaping up, and yeah, it's an ugly thing, but it's a very, very real thing, family. All right. Anyway, make sure. Hold on. Make sure you get this. .me. All right. You Are the Song That You Sing is available. And of course, my book, The Psychological Covert War on Hip Hop, is available. All right. Make sure you check out the Asapo Soul instrumental album, and make sure